a few years ago when I was living with my mum and we received an eviction notice. My mum was literally covered in like total fear. Like, she was already doing so much to make sure that I was okay, that I didn't even know that she was behind on bills. I didn't even know that she was carrying so much weight. I felt so useless.
Hi, my name is Caroline and I'm here to introduce you to a series of conversations and interviews with young women sharing a chapter and defining moment of their life. I feel like so often we lack the belief to know who and what we can really become. But through these stories and through these interviews, I'm hoping that it will inspire you to think about your defining moment in your life and how it's shaping you to become a better version of yourself. So stay tuned. All right, so Miss City Welfare.
Hello.
AKA Ruth. Before we go into City Welfare though, just tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, what you do, and what brought you to where you are today.
Okay, so my name is Ruth Giscombe. A little bit about myself. So I'm currently a student. I am studying accounting and finance.
Amazing.
I also work. I work within sales and CSR. And as you've announced, Miss City Welfare, I run a welfare initiative that feeds families all across the UK.
Yeah.
I've also managed to reach cities and countries outside of the UK as well. So
Amazing.
helping like countries like Nigeria and Ghana with essentials, and helping any projects that I see young people doing in those countries. I've made myself available to get involved in those things.
Amazing, amazing.
Yeah.
So like so you're studying, you're running this amazing business organization, community project, whatever you want to call it, but it's helping people, providing resources and food to those that really, really need it. And then you're doing CSR, so corporate social responsibility as well. All of these different assets and strings to your bow. Like, how do you do it, and what motivates you to do all of these things?
If I'm honest, I think it's because I have leadership.
Yeah.
I think I had to see someone do it to believe that I could do it. Because growing up in school, people would always say to me, "Oh, Ruth, like when you're older, you're gonna be someone so amazing, you're gonna be someone so great." And I was just like, "What do these people see in me? Like, what are you talking about?" Because I used to be one of those people who was very like well kept to myself, but I just knew how to get on with everyone.
Yeah.
But I never saw the same quote myself as special, or I saw myself as someone who was like set apart from the rest. But it's so weird how people always thought, yeah, this girl's gonna become something.
Yeah.
So I think growing up, I was trying to do the trial and error to see, okay, what can I become? Who can I be? And growing up in Lambeth, I grew up in Brixton,
South London.
with my mum, single parent household. The first role model you have in your life is your parent. So it was almost like, okay, so how do I go further than my mother? How do I go further than who I see every day?
Yeah.
And I think now with the leadership that I have today, they've shown me like impossible is nothing. They've shown me that when you set your mind to do something, you can be forced to shift your whole mindset to be able to change not only your own life, but a whole community, a whole city, a whole generation. So that's literally the honest truth. Like, I couldn't have done it because I wanted to. Even though so many people have greatness inside of them, it's a matter of, okay, can someone set the pace for you to follow? Yeah.
I love that. And just going back in terms of like your life, because you spoke about, you know, growing up in a single parent household and being, you know, growing up in Brixton, so representing South London. But even aside from that, was there a defining moment? Tell me about a defining moment in your life that's really shaped the way that you view life, that shaped the way that you view yourself. Talk to me a little bit about that.
I don't know if I should be so open.
Please,
but,
this is the place.
I think probably use the most, I'll say in quote, something that happens to a lot of, let's say, disadvantaged families.
Yeah.
I think I went through a stage in my life where I understood that the community is not always gonna, let's say, have you, or
Yeah.
the government or the system is not, I don't know, they're not always gonna try and give you that pretty life.
Yeah.
I remember a few years ago when I was living with my mum, and we received an eviction notice, and it was almost like my mum was literally covered in like total fear. Like she did not know what to do. Like she was already doing so much to make sure that I was okay, that I didn't even know that she was behind on bills. I didn't even know that she was carrying so much weight. And I didn't know that there was, like, the day she told me, I felt so useless.
Yeah.
I was like, how can my own mother be going through so much and I didn't see it? I don't even have the resources or the power to do anything about this. And I was just like, are you for real?
Yeah.
So we got the eviction notice now, and like my mum was trying to find different ways to, let's say, raise resources, raise finances to at least like cover something, but it just didn't fall through.
Yeah.
And then I remember going to college and thinking, okay, cool, like, looks like I'm moving out of Brixton because we're leaving the house now. But I remember going home that day, and I don't know why, but I just had a peace.
Yeah.
So my mum sat down and had a conversation with me, and I just went up to my room, and I was just like, you know what? Whatever has to happen right now, I know that wherever I'm gonna go from here, like, this just has to be a part of my story. Like, that's how I just looked at it. I wasn't scared. I wasn't like gonna add to my mother's burden that she was already feeling. I was just like, I think everything's gonna be okay. Like, it's gonna be fine. Anyway, so she goes to the first trial, and they were like, yeah, the case has been decided. On this date, you're going to be evicted. And then I remember my mum was able to appeal it, so we had another court case on the exact same day.
Wow.
So I was like, I'm not going into school, I'm coming with you. I'm going to look this judge in the eye, and I'm going to be like... But even while sitting in that courtroom, I was just like, no sympathy. Like, you're just another case in front of him. You're just, I've done this before, and I'm going to do it again, sort of thing. And it's so weird, in quote, you can call it a miracle. But halfway through the case, there was a solicitor that had like seen the case. Yeah. And we had a break, and then he approached my mum, and he was like, oh, like, I want to take on this case, like, show me all the paperwork, show me everything you've already said, and let me step in there with you. So then my mum was like, okay, like, I don't have any other hope. So the guy took in the case, he came in, and then he was speaking with the judge, and the judge was like, no, I'm not having it. Wow. There's this and this that's wrong with what you've presented to me. So the guy went back to my mum and was like, why didn't you show me this? And then she was like, I didn't know. He's like, show me everything. So they literally went through everything, and then he's like, this is what I needed. And then he took it to the judge, and then the judge was like, okay, like, boom, like, tell the bailiffs that they can stop. Like, he was like, okay, he was like, Miss Giscombe, like, just give what you have now, and then the rest will be sorted on, like, let's say a certain basis. But I think for me, that moment, I was like, okay, there's not really much you can do with this, let's say, system. There's not really much you can do with the people that you rely on the most, or that you think you're supposed to rely on. And I think that just changed everything for me, because I was just like, you don't have anyone. Like, if you don't have yourself, if you're not set up to a particular place, like, not even your parents, who's supposed to be your first hero, can do anything about it, because they're hiding so much from you, and it's just like, it's mad.
Wow.
It's mad.
Wow. That's very deep. Yeah. And just in terms of the system as well, just want to touch on that a little bit, in terms of, I think we live in a society now where, like you said, not everything's going to be handed to you in the way that you think.
Yeah.
And I think there are times when we grow up with an expectation or entitlement in terms of, I should be entitled to this. But very soon life will show you that actually, no, you're not entitled. You're not necessarily entitled to it. But coming from that story that you shared, that's just so deep in so many ways, but being able to come out of that, and now where you are now in terms of the impact that you're making in so many people's lives, and you spoke about leadership, but how do you view like the background that you came from now, and you being able to do the work that you do? Because I'm thinking about others that maybe have a similar story to yours, and maybe feel stuck in the system, but don't really know how to come out of it. Like, what advice or what really helped you, like pulled you out of that, aside from leadership? What advice would you give to somebody else that may be experiencing something similar to what you went through, but feel stuck, you know? But we know that there's always light at the end of the tunnel. But what would you say to that person?
The advice that I would give them is, like, find someone that, I don't know if this is the right term, but find someone that will allow you to become like them. Not in a cheesy way of, okay, like you can't be your own person, but almost telling you don't be your own person. Like, allow yourself to be vulnerable enough to follow someone that has the life that you want. And as you were saying, like, in regards to like listening to other people who've had had my own story. There was a mother that I had actually met after the COVID. I went to actually sit down with a few of the families that we've been helping. And she was just saying everything as clear as day. Like, she's like how she's going through so much problems with the benefits that she's getting. The government has slashed like a whole £85 of how much she's supposed to be receiving. And she was just like, sometimes I literally have to sit in my kitchen and figure out, am I buying food for my household? She has 3 children. Am I buying food, or am I paying this electric bill, or am I paying these bills that is going to allow us to stay in this house? So it's almost like there's a pattern here. There's always like a give or a take, but what is the right choice for you to make? And in regards to, like, let's say giving advice to someone who's trying to get out of it, you just need to, let's say, build your own world, or find a world that you can be a part of, or find a community that you can build, because whatever you build builds you. So you're never going to get out of it by yourself. I'm sorry if I crushed your dream, but you can't get out of it by yourself. But if you go and build something that can build you, that's your way out.
Wow. Wow, that's powerful. And you spoke about city welfare, but I just want you to just, like, for people that don't know what it is, if you can just break it down a little bit in terms of the lives and the people that you're reaching, like, what do you do and what is it that you're providing? Because I know you're providing hope, you're providing so many different things, but just in terms of what makes city welfare, do you want to just talk to us a little bit about that?
Okay.
Yeah.
So the city welfare is actually a welfare initiative that started, I'd say just before the pandemic. So it was almost like so timely. It was crazy. And as soon as the pandemic started, April 2020, that's when we decided, okay, let's register this company and let's go out to more people, because so many people have just been hit by this tragedy. And it was like, what do people need right now? So at the beginning, it was people really need food. So every single week we went out to the grocery stores, we received donations, and we just bought that. Nothing was held, nothing was like, okay, like, because of the work we're doing, let's put this in our pocket. No, like, everything. We went into shops, we built up a database of houses that the need was so much. Literally, I put together just a simple Google form. I promoted it on my socials. When I say hundreds of people came to apply, and that was the need, so that is what had to be met. And then from food, it was now meeting mothers.
Yeah.
And you're meeting single mothers. I met a young lady, she was only 20 years old. She'd just given birth to twins. And like she's now living, they put her in a council flat. So it's almost like she doesn't have furniture. She has twin, beautiful girls.
Yeah.
Not living with family. So this young girl, what does she have? What can we do? So I remember putting together like a baby's hamper for the girls. So there was like clothes, all in one, wipes, nappies, even got her a high chair as well. Literally just essentials that one would need as a new mother, as a young mother. And I thought, okay, cool, like this is also another thing that is needed. So I began working with a few midwives that would put together hampers. So they would make that donation towards the city welfare, and we'll take it and we'll deliver it to the mothers. So it was like, okay, food, single mother hampers, and then it was like essentials to help with hygiene. Okay, like let's put together hampers like that has, you know, things that young females will need. And literally, it just, each time there's a need, there's a way to give. And I remember there's another young lady, so she was doing a community work in Ghana, and they were trying to set up like a new, let's say like a new community hub where they provide young children with like boxing gear and sports gear, just so they can just get out of the four walls that they've known all their life in Ghana. And I was like, yeah, the city welfare was going to support this. So we sent over some funds for her so she could like literally cover the costs that she would need to put together her documentary and like literally help these people. Then again, we done a let's say like a campaign to get clothes for children and families in Nigeria. So it's almost like every single time there's a need, it's almost like, okay, let's meet it. And what's so mad is that I think back from when I was in secondary school, I always used to ask myself at the end of the day, who have I helped today? And it's, when I tell you, your life is a setup, because I didn't think that at the end of the day, I'm going to now ask who have I fed today, or who have I provided essentials with. Just like, let's say 15 years old, I'm just be like, okay, like, who have I helped today? To now seeing that every day my life is about helping someone. So literally that's what the city welfare is. And I even found out, like after doing some research, that I'm actually the youngest food bank CEO in the UK. So thank you.
Amazing, man.
So even that in itself, you can't make this, you can't make it up.
You couldn't script it.
Literally. I swear, my whole life has been
it's all been orchestrated.
Literally.
Wow. Wow.
It's crazy.
That's amazing. So you said you started it just before the pandemic, right?
Yeah.
So how have you been able to adapt it during COVID, like in terms of you reaching out to those people and going to those homes? How has it been different, or has there been a difference?
I would say that the compassion from people grew. So for me, so I actually started, it was that Christmas, just before the announcement of the whole, let's say, lockdown. And there was like, I think there was a young lady who said that her mother needed help with having stuff for Christmas. And then I spoke with my leader about it, my mentor, and she said, you know what, rather than just helping that woman, let's help 10 mothers. So I was like, okay. So I told the young lady, okay, yes, we're going to help your family, but we're also going to find 10 more mothers. And I put this forward to a foundation at the time. So at the time I was even working in another job, just obviously in studying. And they were like, yeah, I wanna be a part of this. She was like, for the longest, she's always wanted to do something, let's say charitable, but because of the weight of her work, she just hasn't been able to do it. So she's like, I want to do it for you. So I was just like, okay, wow. And you know, doing it for the first time, I'm running around trying to find drivers, trying to get someone to hire out a van for me, working out, okay, how to do an order from, let's say, Tesco for 10 families. I was like, ah! But as mad as
made
it was,
happen.
we made it happen. If you
Love
saw my
that.
mother's front room, oh my gosh, there was like
splattered, just all manner of things everywhere.
And then I literally had to call up some friends. Like, I didn't even have a team at the time. It was me, and it was like, "Hi, can you come and help me? Hi, can you come and help me?" And then they came down.
Yeah.
We put together the packages, all in my mother's front room.
Yeah.
And
wow, that's
began.
amazing. And the impact that you've made as well is just phenomenal.
Yeah, and even with the difference, that you had said,
yeah,
like, before the whole lockdown. So I think more people, because of like how scared people were becoming, and not really having a hope for tomorrow. So everything became uncertain. Toilet paper started running out.
Yeah. Oh gosh. The toilet paper crisis was mad. Mad.
So it was now, their backs were against the wall, and they were just like, there's gonna come to, like, I'm gonna get to a place where I can no longer help myself. So I really and truly need someone to help me. And during that time, we had so many inquiries from people who was using food banks for the first time. So I remember like delivering, I actually go to the deliveries, like going to a mother, delivering to her house, and she was like, "I'm so sorry, like this is my first time using the food bank, I'm so sorry." It's only because I'm like, why are you
apologizing? Yeah.
Like they actually felt so bad.
Oh, wow.
But as I was speaking regarding compassion, like so many people were more like moved to wanna help.
To help as well.
So many people just wanted to do something in that time, in this time, and
wow. And just in terms of like helping as well, and you being able to help people, because you recently spoke to me about, you recently losing your dad, and how you're able to go through that experience but still extend a hand of help to somebody else. It's just remarkable, really. But how was that for you, and how were you able to navigate that period of your life?
At the beginning, it was very confusing, because as I grew older, I was able to, like, let's say, build a relationship that I wanted with my dad. And it was so weird, because like my dad was one of the people who would always celebrate me about anything that I did. It's like, my daughter done this, my daughter's doing that. And even like the day before he died, I spoke to him the night before. So that's what I was even more bewildered. I was just like, but I spoke to you last night. How? I think during that time, it was just like another thing you have to go through, another building block. Like, where's this pain gonna take you? It's almost like you go through a pain. What are you gonna do with it? Does it become your power? Does it destroy you? That's the question. If I'm honest, those were the questions I was asking. I was like, okay, if this is a pain that's given to me, it means it's supposed to be a fuel for something. So in that season, it was now about bringing my family together. In that season, it was about, okay, cool, like, who in the community of people who knew my father, how can I help them? Because it's so weird how people say you're almost like your parents. So even listening to the stories that people told at my dad's nine night, that's something, it's like a Caribbean tradition where 9 days after they die, you bring together the community that knew him, and then, or knew the person who's died, and you talk about their lives and what they've done for you. And like so many people were like, when I didn't have anything, or when I needed someone to call me, like Philip, that's his name, Philip would always be there. Like, it doesn't matter how far he was, he'll go to the shop for you, or he'll pick up the phone and call you, or he'll do something. Like, I was just like, wow, I didn't know that I was carrying something that he used to do. But it was almost like he gave birth to someone that could now do it on a larger scale for this community. So even after he had died, I've even put on a campaign in the borough that he grew up in, which was in Peckham. So I literally reached out to families across Southwark, literally as a memorial campaign for him.
Yeah.
But
wow.
In that time, it's just you ask so many questions, and you don't know how to feel. Because I'm not gonna lie, I didn't know how to feel.
Yeah.
It was almost like the shock made me cry more than the news of him dying. And then I think it was just on that day that I cried, and I didn't cry again. And then it was like, but why am I not feeling this emotion? Why am I not angry? Why am I not why am I still sane?
Yeah.
But still deep down, like there was so much things that was going on. And I was just like, how do I explain it? But again, it's just getting to that place of knowing what to do with how you're feeling, knowing what to do when you go through something, knowing the people that you have around you, that is always going to be your source, is always going to be your support system, that's always going to be that community that you need.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
wow, I'm sure he's like very, very proud of you. What 3 words would you use to describe this current chapter of your life?
This current chapter, 3 words. 3 words.
That come to the top of your head.
Yeah, 3 words. The first one would be, I don't know if this makes sense, but the first word is trusting. This season, I've just learnt to trust people so much more. Yeah. Trust people with, let's say, a vision that I may have about my life, or trusting people to want to help me. Because sometimes you feel like you're not deserving of that help, or sometimes you just feel like, can I even approach someone for help? Yeah. So yeah, this time is definitely a trusting time. Yeah. I would say this time is also a new level time, because just over the Christmas season, for families, I'll say well over 200 homes alone on just one single day.
That's amazing.
So I know that like over 1,000 individuals were fed at Christmas. Yeah. I also hosted a family in one of our in a luxury apartment for Christmas. Nice. Made sure that their fridge was filled. Yeah. They had their Christmas hamper. Yeah. The house was decorated. Yeah. It was really beautiful. Yeah. So yeah, I'll call this time a new level, a new season, or a new type of Ruth. Yeah. Yeah. And the third one will be the third one. I can't pronounce the word, so I'm gonna find it.
Do you want to spell it for us?
Let me think of another one. The third one is.
I want to know what that one was.
I'll write it for you.
Yeah. Okay.
The third one would be comfortable. Don't think about it too much. Yeah. Just remain in that place where you can just be focused and be at comfort at where you are. Like, you're going to see so many people doing a lot of things. And you may want to question yourself about what you're doing right now, because you're like, oh, should I be doing that? But it's like, just be comfortable in what don't get comfortable, but be comfortable in what you're doing. Stay focused on what you're doing.
I love that.
So I hopefully I answered the question.
That's good. No, of course. I love those 3 words. And just very finally, what does she as you mean to you?
Do you know what's so mad? It's almost like a saying of like the person you always wanted to meet or have as you were growing up, like become that person, because she is you. Yeah. So the person that you're searching for, sometimes stop and think, but she is you. You can become exactly that. She is you.
I love that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So great having you.
It's been amazing. Thank you.
Hi beautiful people, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. See you next time. Take care.